awesome. Thanks for the thundering applause tonight. We're back live again with the Monday Morning Coach Show. I'm your host, Willie Snyder of Nat King Code and of the number one Broncos fan, number one in the West, King of the West, and joined by my awesome co-host, Mr. King James Stalcup, and he is representing the Cowboys tonight, hoping they get a win against the hated Raiders. So that should be awesome. And look who we already have up in here. We got Daniel.
DJ in the house.
I guarantee he's.
I'm surprised he showed up after taking that whooping.
Dude, he has so many crow recipes now. It is just amazing. Now he has the Texas Longhorn crow sandwich. He has the Cowboys losing in Mile High sandwich. Oh, man. And he's just been cooking it.
I told you my second favorite team's Denver. I'm all for them, baby.
Yeah.
I want them to go all the way.
Yeah. And Daniel was bringing up some pretty good statistics. Like, I guess between the Broncos, the Nuggets, and the Avalanche, all three teams are undefeated in Denver. So,
oh, really?
That's pretty awesome, and that gives us a shoe in for
Broncos country. Let's ride.
That's right.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
Oh, we paid Russell Wilson $100 million to give us that soundbite, so he owes us. But no, it's pretty awesome. Appreciate everyone jumping in, talking football with us. A really huge college weekend, man. I don't think there was a bad game in college this week. And Navy got the upset, which we were talking about. A lot of them we were talking about.
Yep.
The Sooners getting the upset on Alabama. Georgia taking out Texas. There's quite a few really good games. So
there's still stuff gonna happen. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
When we get over, I'm gonna talk about one that I don't agree with. And
yeah, I could see like Michigan has a path to get in now. So maybe that's the one you don't agree with, but
no, there's another one. I'll show you when we get to the playoff indicator. So let's go ahead and do the meme of the week, then we'll get into the college stuff.
All right, sounds good. That's one of those ones with that strength of schedule. It's like, yeah, Patriots are 9-2, but look at all people they beat.
Yeah,
they beat the Browns, they beat the, all these lowly teams, the Jets.
That's right. Got a good schedule, and they won like they're supposed to.
Yeah,
and they get the credit for it. It's like I always say. Matter of fact, if I was like some of these big teams, I wouldn't schedule any hard out of conference games to start the year or anything. I'd play the weakest teams until you get into your own conference play that way, because they hold it against you if you lose. I'm starting to notice that. And then they give credit to the ones that hadn't played anybody, which we're about to see here in a little bit.
Yeah, well, there's still a little bit of that Texas bias up in here, but
oh no, not now.
Okay, all right.
The only thing I'm biased about a little bit is the officiating.
Sure.
I've gotten my fill of these. I honestly believe there's a bias against Texas. And after what they did back-to-back weeks, what they did Vanderbilt that fourth quarter, them penalties they were calling were freaking ridiculous. And then when they were playing Georgia, anytime we got a big play, they threw a flag every time. And there were two times even the refs or the announcers like, you don't know about that. But
oh yeah, that holding.
Yeah, and then there were three times the refs right there, and the guy from Georgia's got his arm extended out and got hold of the jersey of the Texas player. He's looking right at it, and he's holding him. The guy can't make the tackle, and the guy doesn't throw a flag. And I was on the watching some of the group different what do you call them, social media, different things, and they were talking, and there were a lot of them saying, well, this game's already been determined. Because I mean, Texas had 10 penalties before Georgia had one, and the only reason they called the one on Georgia because he practically tackled him. The receiver. I mean, you're going to tell me Georgia is so great they didn't make any penalties against that type of defense? Yeah. Give me a freaking break. And I think it got down into the fourth quarter. I think Texas just said they just gave up. I think they were pissed off and didn't care anymore at that point. So, but
it's pretty rough.
Anyway, let's go to college and we'll go through everything and we'll show some of the stuff. Not clicking on. What's going on here? What's going on there?
It's time for King James's college breakdown and rankings.
It's sort of funny. I was talking about it because I have a real good friend. He went to Georgia. He was texting me during the game, and he goes, I can't believe our team is that disciplined. We can't even get a penalty. He put LOL on it. I mean, he even texted and said he couldn't believe it. I was like, yeah. I was a little PO'd about it. But anyway, that brings us to the top 25 and the chances of making it. And the one I'm going to disagree with here, which is James Madison.
Okay.
I'm not agreeing with them putting them there. I just don't think. I look at the league they're in, I guess you could say, and James Madison, they're over in the what league is that called over there? The Sun Belt. I was trying to think of it. They're in the Sun Belt. And when you look at James Madison, I look at who they've played. They've lost one game. They lost to Louisville. And Louisville's not going to make it. And then I go down and I look at all the others they won down through there. There's no like real big ones there to me. Okay? And this is where I think it's going to be very interesting because you've got, looking at that, you'll see that they have Navy is not up there. Okay? Yeah. Now,
well, they're like top 25 now, right? Or are they not even in the top 25?
Well, these are 24 right here.
Oh, gotcha.
That as far as percentage to make it. Okay?
Right.
Now, this is for the same record and everything. Last week they had South Florida in there.
Yeah.
South Florida got beat. Okay? And if you look at South Florida, who did South Florida lose to? They lost by 3 points to Navy.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it was like 41-38.
That was like a college final countdown. Mm-hmm. That was crazy.
And this is something they've been saying, Florida's been up and then Navy's been up. And there's one team I've been talking about this whole time. North Texas.
Yeah, they actually, Mean Green looked pretty good.
They sure do.
They whooped them hard.
And when you look at the Mean Green, North Texas, you look at they lost one game, which was to South Florida, their worst game of the year, but they beat Navy 31-17, who just beat South Florida. and you've had those teams up before James Madison. And I think if the Mean Green, they got two left, which is Rice and Temple, and then there's more than likely they're either going to play Tulane or Navy in the championship if they win out.
Wouldn't that be crazy if Tulane makes it and LSU didn't? That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I just sort of look at this. This is where it's getting really, really interesting because Tulane, all they got left is Temple and Charlotte. I think they're going to win out.
Yeah. If you ask me, the way Notre Dame played, they're in. I mean, that was just a stomping of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and if I think it's going to be very interesting who is going to be the team that goes in, because I'll be under contention here. If North Texas wins out and they win their conference title, I think they should go in before James Madison.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that. And, they've got them at 38%, but maybe they're saying James Madison at 52% because they think they're going to win out and the Mean Green have a harder chance of going out.
Right.
And I would contend the Mean Green have a better strength schedule and everything than James Madison, and I would take the 15 up above James Madison. I just would. Now,
yeah. Daniel texted me when the A&M game was on, and he was all like, "Yeah, put some respect on them." But man, A&M came back with a roar, and
I was up watching that, and they were coming back, and I was thinking, man, that South Carolina coach needs to be freaking fired. You played that well, and then you just go to crap after that. Something's not right there. And I'll tell you what, the other one I'll talk about also is Oklahoma. Now, I'm going to give Oklahoma their due here, but
they
Alabama, you played freaking terrible.
They came out and they smacked Alabama right in the mouth in the first part of that game, and I don't think Alabama ever recovered from it. Because I mean, they went down there. Alabama went 3-and-out, and then they punted it, and then they had this major punt return where they came back like 63 yards or something. And even though Oklahoma only settled for a field goal, they were just pinned back in their. They were just pinned deep like the whole game after that.
Well, the thing with Oklahoma, their defense won that game because we'll get to that in a little bit.
That'll be a breakdown.
And they got Missouri and LSU left, so we'll see if they win out. That's what I'm waiting to see if they win out. Because looking at this, I think right now you can pretty much pencil these teams in. Indiana, Ohio State, A&M, Georgia, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Oregon, and Alabama, and Notre Dame.
Right.
That's 9. Now you get to the last 3. And you're going to get one at large, which is going to be James Madison or North Texas. That's 10.
Yeah.
So now, and I know this sounds hard to believe, but Texas still has a chance to get in, believe it or not.
Yeah,
and the only reason they do because they play A&M. If they beat A&M, which is a number 3 team, that's going to hold weight.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to hold weight. And if Oklahoma slips up, loses one more, Texas beat Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know it's hard to believe. So you're looking at these teams. Who's going to go in? I mean, these last 2 spots are going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I think Michigan has a path if they win out too. They have to beat Ohio State. So
that's true too. Michigan could go up. I'm going to give it to them because when you look at Michigan, I mean they're 8-2, and they have Maryland, and they barely got past Northwestern last week.
That was
Maryland,
actually a good game, and that's a pretty hard place to play too. There was a lot of wind. You could tell it was really affecting the passes and their kicks and stuff. So there was some factors with weather that I think really swayed some stuff in that game. But
well, I
that
think it's going to be interesting because if they lose to Ohio State, they're not getting in. We'll just put it that way. If they win out, then there's a path because they only beat 2 losses. And I think the next 2 weeks are going to have some bearing on what's going to happen.
Well, I think you're right that there's gonna be quite a few 2 and 3 lost teams that end up getting in, depending on their strength of who they beat and all that kind of stuff. So
Sure,
it's gonna be interesting.
It's going to be. It's hard to say right now because
Georgia Tech won, BYU.
I think OU's starting to get beat up a little bit.
Yeah.
And they've had some tough freaking games they've played the last couple of weeks. And I'm sort of curious to see how Oklahoma, if they still have that fight, because they lost to Ole Miss 34-26. Then they played Tennessee. They won, and then they played Alabama. Then they got Missouri and LSU, which are going to be 2 tough teams. They're not. It's no walking. If they win both of those, as far as I'm concerned, they're in. But if they lose one now, that changes things.
Didn't LSU just become bowl eligible last week? I think they won 6, so I think they're bowl eligible now.
Yeah. LSU has won. They're 6-4. That's right. So yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, they're bowl eligible.
So they do have something a little bit to play for.
Well, yeah, get a better bowl and better pay.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, and then you got Missouri, which is 7-3. So there's
two bowl eligible teams.
Yeah, there's going to be some hard games that are going to take place. It's sort of funny because if you go over to, say you went over and looked at the SEC and you look at conference, Texas is actually above Oklahoma and Vanderbilt. And you know why? Because they both lost 2 games in conference.
Right.
So I think that's going to be very, very interesting on what takes place. And I'll say this.
Georgia still could lose one too, because don't they still have?
Nah, Georgia's got to walk. The hardest game they got's Georgia Tech. So
right.
I think when you look at that, Georgia Tech at their 36%, they're going to be out. And that's why I say you start looking at these that are in front. So let's take a look at that. So you've got in the Big 12, you've got Utah. Okay. And I don't think Utah has a really, really great strength of schedule.
Right.
Because they've lost to Tech, who was ranked, and then they lost to BYU, that was ranked. Okay. Right. The only ranked team they beat was number 17 Cincinnati, which they won that game. They got Kansas State and Kansas left. I think those are going to be 2 tough games, but I just don't think Utah has the strength of schedule.
Especially if they're playing in Willie Snyder Stadium over there,
Yeah, and then you look at BYU. If BYU wins out, they beat TCU this week. If they went out and played Tech in the Big 12 championship and Tech beats up on them again, I think they're out.
Yeah.
And then Georgia Tech's out. So then you're looking at Virginia there. Okay?
Yeah.
And when you look at the ACC and look at who Virginia has left, they just have Virginia Tech.
Right.
And Virginia Tech's been terrible. And they've got a loss to Wake Forest and a loss to North Carolina State. They've only got one ranked win on theirs, Florida State, and we saw at that time Florida State was number 8. Well, Florida State wasn't that good.
Yeah.
So
I think Virginia's out. Like I don't think they're gonna make it.
well, I do, and I'll tell you why. Because I think Georgia Tech is probably going to win their next game. Okay, so if they win their next game, and which is at Pitt, then they got Georgia, they lose. So I'm looking at this one. Let's just say Pitt beats Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's definitely at that point. But
Right.
now you're going to be looking at who is going to be playing in the ACC championship. If Virginia wins next week, they're in. So you're looking at it's probably Pittsburgh or SMU.
Right.
So in Pitt's number 22 right now, and let's see, what is SMU? They got them ranked in there. See, they don't even have SMU ranked in there yet. Okay, so if I look at Pittsburgh has Georgia Tech and Miami left. Now,
Right.
this is where it gets fun.
Yeah, I mean that could squeak them in the ACC.
That's what I'm saying. But just say they lost to Miami.
Yeah, that's
Okay, that'd be interesting. But
yeah.
Miami wins out. Miami is, let's see, who's got Miami?
Didn't Miami beat Notre Dame?
Miami,
I thought that was like the first game of the season.
they beat Notre Dame 27-24. And if you look at Miami, they've got 2 losses. They got one to Louisville and to SMU. Now, this is where it's interesting. They got Virginia Tech and Pitt left. Let's say they win those 2. Okay? That's just a hypothetical. They win out. Okay?
Uh-huh.
So that's going to eliminate Pitt, and Georgia Tech's probably going to be eliminated. Then you've got 2 left. This week, SMU plays number 20 Louisville, and then they play California. Let's just say SMU won both of those. Okay? That'll put them at 7-1, and Miami be at 4-2. If you have Georgia Tech losing Pittsburgh, now you got Virginia and SMU playing each other. Now think about that for a minute. And if SMU beat Virginia, well, guess what? SMU is going to be one of the teams that get one of those spots up there. So you're looking out in front of that. You've got OU, Utah, BYU, Georgia Tech, and Virginia ahead of Texas and USC.
Right.
Now,
USC lost, right? Or did they win?
USC won.
Yeah, so they still have a chance too.
Yeah. But it's what I'm saying. It's going to come to strength of schedule at this point. So if you're looking at 3 teams that are in front of USC and Texas, and I think Utah, they're going to be close. But let's just say Utah got in, and let's say Virginia or SMU got in.
Right.
Okay. Now this becomes interesting. Well, no, that really changes because they got to take one team from there.
Yeah, and it could just be Miami, but
But
it
that
depends
means
if,
one spot is left. You'll
Yeah.
have one spot between OU, Utah, Texas, and Southern Cal.
Yeah.
Is what I'm thinking is going to happen here.
Plus, you got the ACC. You got Miami and SMU.
Oklahoma has to win out.
Yeah.
They
But
have to win out, or they're not getting in.
But I'm saying is OU in the ACC?
No, OU's in the SEC.
Yeah, SEC. I thought so. But aren't they taking one spot from the ACC
No, the
at large?
ACC has to have one team in there.
Yeah, so that would be between Miami, SMU, or
Virginia,
Pitt, or
Virginia, SMU, Miami, or Pitt,
gotcha.
or Georgia Tech.
And that's one spot.
That's one spot. So that leaves one spot left. Look at that. I hadn't even looked at it that close.
Wow.
So if OU wins out, they're the ones getting in. If OU loses one game and say Texas wins out, if I was Texas coach, you have a legitimate argument at that point because you both have the same amount of losses, and Texas beat them head to head.
Yeah.
And then when you look at Southern Cal, this will be really, really interesting at this point because when you look at USC, they've got 2 losses. And, well, this brings in another one. If Oregon loses, they play Oregon next week. Or this coming week.
Wow.
They play them on the 22nd. They're playing Oregon.
Wow. I guess Dak just fumbled.
But think about that for a minute. So say they beat Oregon,
Yeah.
and you go in and you look at Oregon's strength of schedule, because I'm going to be in the portion here that Oregon hadn't really played anybody. Because if you look, let's see who they've beat that was actually ranked. Well, Penn State, but we know Penn State ain't any good. They did beat Iowa 18-16. And they'd have 2 losses to Indiana and USC. But
Wow.
then it doesn't make any difference. If Oregon beats USC, USC's out. That's 3 losses. So from the looks of this, if I'm looking at this right, I think it's if it goes the way I'm thinking here, there's going to be the last spot's going to be between 3 people probably.
Yeah. And we could put it together,
And
get
Michigan,
you
4. Michigan's got to win out.
get you a little clown car with all the different teams in there. You could have them
It's
all
going to
just
be
popping out of
interesting
there.
to see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. I mean, you're looking at the way the teams went, and they moved Alabama down below Oklahoma.
Wow.
2 spots. Notre Dame's in. I don't care what anybody says.
They just look so solid. Like, man, dude, I think they had 2 pick sixes or something like that. Like, it was just ridiculous.
I'm going to tell you, when I look at these Associated Press, I don't agree with anything they say.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at some of these who they've got they got James Madison 21, but they do have North Texas moved up to 22. In my opinion, North Texas wins out and wins that conference. I think they go in before James Madison does.
I would agree with that. I think there's a lot of pressure on that stuff. Like, when I look at it, I've kind of been involved in some of the press things, and there's a lot of pressure in there, a lot of money, a lot of lobbyists and stuff, and I think you have to be like real careful when you're like ranking that kind of stuff, and just make sure that you're fairly representing every conference and everything like that. And there's a lot of like players. It's just all kinds of things in there. I kind of get it. I agree with you. Yeah, like, dude, I've seen the back door, like, ever since. I mean, I'm not trying to go into electrical code, but ever since you kind of opened my eyes about this whole electrical code process thing, there's a lot of stuff you have to kind of look into when it comes to money, financing, how people have like influence, they want to push their stuff. And it opened my eyes. I never would have thought that these guys would be trying so hard to not want to do the right thing,
Oh yeah,
just to get their products sold. That's what it's about. And I think
no
it goes,
sales.
I think it goes a lot into like the college things, getting recruits. Like you look at like what CU did last year, that Coach Prime's sons up there. They were just doing awesome, and it was really cool. And I'm not saying they're a bad team or that that Coach Prime's a bad coach or anything. I'm just trying to say that you look at how kind of the influence swings a little bit,
Sure it
and
does.
and they
And
could have been like a lot higher if they would have just had a little bit more of that AP influence.
I'll tell you another thing that they'll look at when the selection meeting comes in, and I'll just tell you, they do it. It's a bias, and I get it, and I know why they do it. But when they're looking at that 12th spot, 11th spot, trust me, they're going to want to, if they can, they're going to want to put in somebody that has that, if they can get them there, that pulls a big fan base in.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, that's the way it is.
Look at what they did. It was I want to say it was a few years ago in the Final Four basketball tournament when the Shockers got in.
Yeah.
And the Shockers had never even been in the final dance or anything, and they got in the Final Four.
Yeah.
Like, and that was like huge. Like everyone was talking about it. It was like the Cinderella story, all that. So it's really cool. They wouldn't have been there if they didn't have just a little bit of help.
Sure. There's going to be a lot of that's going to take place, and that's why it brings me back when you're looking at this right here. If you look at the bigger fan bases there, I would say if you can get them in, I guarantee you they'd love to have Oklahoma and Texas both in there if they could, and Michigan.
Yeah.
Those are three of the biggest fan bases there. Utah, they got a decent fan base, but not like those three.
Well, like I say, if Michigan beats Ohio State in Ohio, like I don't know if they've done it like that much, really.
I thought that Ohio State plays at Michigan this year.
Oh, maybe that's it. That's it. Yeah, because last year it was Michigan playing in Ohio State and they won. Right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it turned into like a big old gang fight and. Like, yeah, that's right. Yeah. And they went and they planted the Ohio State flag on the Michigan.
Yep.
Or whatever.
Or
and that's
Michigan plays theirs on Ohio State.
Or, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. I had it backwards. But I have it backwards on purpose so that I'm not trying to have a bias towards either team. But I do kind of, I'm more leaning towards the Go Blue. But I really don't see Ohio State losing. Like, they've just been such a powerful team. Even on the road, like, what really impressed me was when they went into Penn State last year. I mean, Penn State was jacked. Like, I was watching that game. Like, I was watching the pregame, and it's pretty crazy. Like on Sunday, they actually had the pregame for the Broncos Chiefs. It started, like, early in the morning. And they had NFL game day out there. They had riding bulls set up. They had like all this stuff out there in front of Mile High Stadium. And it's funny because Daniel would know because me and Daniel were out there taking pictures of all the stuff out there. I was taking selfies with all the different statues and stuff out there. And so Daniel knows right where I was talking about where they set all that stuff up for NFL Today. And they did the whole entire day of NFL Today out in front of Mile High. And then the Broncos whipped on KC. And so it was pretty awesome. And like I say, I think it would be kind of cool to see, like a Michigan get in there. I don't know if Michigan's really strong enough. Like, for them to beat Ohio State, I think they're going to have to do a lot of different things that I just don't think they're really tooled to do. I don't see them being able to do it. Like the one thing I could see the Mean Green getting in. Like the Mean Green,
I can too.
they looked strong. I mean, they looked really strong. And It's hard for me to say, like when you bring it up, when it comes to Georgia Tech, Virginia, Miami, SMU, and Pitt. That's a lot of really good teams vying for one spot.
It is. That's what I was saying. You're really going to start to see. There's, in my opinion, there's going to be some separation that's going to have to take place. That's coming up, and
Yeah.
I personally, I think, looking at this, I think that there's going to the 12th spot's going to be up for fights. OU wins out, they get it.
Yeah.
If they lose one game, say Texas won out, in my opinion, Texas goes before them because Texas beat them head to head. If Michigan wins out, Michigan's 2-loss, I would argue they should get the 12th spot. But Utah, the 2 ranked teams they played, they lost. They got no Big Ten wins or anything. And I think the 39% they're showing right here is based on the fact they think Texas and Michigan, USC are going to lose.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
That's what I think.
I don't know, like, what's SC's schedule? I didn't think it was too difficult.
Southern Cal, they got Oregon next week.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If they lose to Oregon, they're probably out.
True.
So,
all right.
Anyway, that's it. Now let's look at the college games of the week and break them down so everybody can see how the games went. The first one we had, which was a really big game, we had number 11 and number 4 Alabama. Oklahoma against Alabama. It was 23-21. The reason OU won this game because Alabama turned the ball over. It's that simple.
True, 100%. To me, honestly, it looked like Oklahoma wanted it more.
Well, to give you an idea, Alabama had 23 first downs to 12 for OU. They had 406 yards to 212 total yards for OU. That tells you right there. Then, if you look, they had Alabama had 3 turnovers. They lost 2 fumbles and threw an interception. Right. They literally almost had 10 minutes more possession of the ball.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Well, and that's where that turnover battle really showed up for me on that stat line, was that Alabama had like almost double the yards.
Yeah.
And nothing to show for it.
That's right. And I mean, Ty Simpson was 28 of 42 for 326 yards. And he had 1 passing touchdown, 1 interception. That interception ain't what caused it. It was Daniel Hill fumbling the ball twice.
Yeah.
And they were driving when it happened. I mean, and you look, Mateer, he only had 138 yards passing and they only had 74 yards rushing.
Yeah, but that 74 yards rushing was like in big crucial moments where they went and picked up the first down, kept the drive alive, and got him in there for the field goal. Like, I don't think that OU really scored that many touchdowns. Like, did they only score like 2 touchdowns?
Well, the big interception that won the game for them was the guy Brown intercepted it and returned it 87 yards for a touchdown.
Okay, gotcha.
That tells you they're down there a field goal at least. Instead, it goes all the way back for a touchdown.
Yeah, that changes the whole thing.
That's right. And OU had 4 sacks and 5 tackles for loss, and Alabama 2 sacks and 4 tackles for loss. Pretty much as close to a wash there. Oklahoma defense won the game for them, basically.
True.
And you go and look, Alabama, they actually had 1 kick return. They went 65 yards. Wasn't a touchdown or anything, but that's a big return. And
wasn't that the opening possession for Oklahoma?
I think it was.
Yeah,
I,
so I think the way it went, just to give everyone the backstory, is Alabama got the ball first. They received. They went 3-and-out. Then they punted it. Was that a punt return? I think it was a punt return. And it was like a punt return for like 63 yards. And then they settled for a field goal. But still, it just set that tone that they just smacked them in the mouth. In my opinion, that's the way I saw it.
The kick return that was 65 yards, that was Alabama. But
Gotcha.
another thing that made it very, very important that Oklahoma did an excellent job of. They had 6 punts, but they put 3 of them inside the 20-yard line.
Oh yeah, dude, that one. I think they got him on like the 2 or
Yeah.
something.
I mean, it was big, the things that happened there. So when you go and look at it, in my opinion, Alabama beat themselves.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So,
I mean, they were at home. They had their home crowd. There was no excuse for Alabama to lose that game. Just the amount of intensity they had at that stadium. But OU came in, smacked them in the mouth, and they couldn't get it back.
sure. And then we had Georgia and Texas, which ended up being 35-10. And you look at this game, Texas, up until it got to the end of the fourth quarter, it's just like they quit at that point because up to that point, they were playing really good. The defense,
Right.
everything looked good. I mean, they had 274 total yards. You break it down by quarter, you can see it was the fourth quarter where it got lopsided.
Right.
And that, to me, was where the big part of it came in. And I'll just say this. We don't see this stat in here. You don't see penalties and things like that. But if you go down and you break them down by quarter, you start to see what really took place. There were nobody gave up a fumble or anything.
Right.
And if you look, when they started getting their rushing yards and everything, it was in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And
And one thing that Daniel wanted me to do, and King James eats the crow. So
I'll say
got him,
one thing
got
that
him.
was very disappointing in this game, more than anything, is how many times the Texas receivers dropped the ball.
Right.
And it was right in their hand. There was one, he was cutting across, and if he catches it, he turns uphill. He's got 20, 30 yards, and he freaking drops it. And then they threw another one that was a first down. He missed it. I mean, it was and there were a couple others that were just some quick turn-ins, curl routes, and they just freaking dropped it. I was like, you couldn't blame Arch Manning for this thing
Did
at all.
you see Arch in a few of those? Like, oh, you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, we needed that right now. Like, are you serious?
What more can I do?
Yeah.
You know?
Just like, what?
And
I mean, he put that pass perfect. Like, it was like, I think one of them bounced off his shoulder pads or something, or bounced off. Like, it hit him in the numbers and bounced off.
yeah, and you look at it, it's pretty much the same. Texas had 2 sacks, 8 tackles for loss. Georgia had 3 sacks and 7 tackles for loss. It's a wash at that point. The defenses for both teams played great. It was up to until you got to the fourth quarter. I think the players had just had enough. Just
I agree.
screw it. It's the way it looked to me. It's like they just quit.
Yeah.
And I will say, when I look at this, and I'm going to give you a good example. Take Ryan Niblett. They called our guy for holding, and he engages with him, and the guy, they're going back, and he goes over guy. He's got his hands. You know how they'll teach them to grab the jersey on the inside?
Yeah.
He's got him on the inside, and he's blocking, and he trips over his guys. They're going backwards. Well, he's got hold of his jersey, of course, and he comes down with him. They called him for holding. The guy was nowhere even in the play. It was and so what ended up happening? They take a 60-yard return and take it back and put them back inside their 10-yard line.
Yeah, that was garbage, and even I think even the announcers were like, "What? This is not." Yeah, they were like, yeah, I don't think anything was. I didn't see anything." And dude, like, so Daniel's been called a whiner before, and so he's just trying to like push it back on you, there, King James. And just
it's not
like,
true because
hey,
I even say it about other teams too
yeah.
that I don't like. I'll call it like I see it.
Well, he's not saying you're a whiner. He's just saying there's no whining. So
Oh yeah, there isn't.
He's not saying you're a one, like, but he's been called a whiner before because he didn't want to work Sunday. And he's like, no, I'm not working Sunday. And they're like, oh, we don't need whiners like you on our crew. And I was like, what?
Well, I sort of agree with DJ on that one.
Oh yeah, I agree too. It's the guys who's the project managers who screwed the job up that are calling him a whiner. So yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, but it's just a little inside joke that we do a lot, and old Daniel knows me. Have to add a little inside jokes in there, but it's so much fun. It's really cool. I have a bunch of stuff stored up for Thursday when we do like our electrical side. It looks like they're gonna try to like get me in on one of the task groups for EBSE, and I want in, dude. I like they said that I have a stakeholder share in this argument, and I'm like, good, let's go, because I won't hold back. I don't care. I don't have any filter. I don't have any invested interest in GFCI protection, and like I want to hold them to the fire. I think they're realizing that we took them to the woodshed in 2026, and I don't know how they're coming back from that. And so we'll see what happens, but we'll save that for Thursday. All you electrical code nerds, we'll get you in Thursday, and then I guess we'll go over to NFL.
Yep, let me cue it up.
Now it's time for Willie's NFL Breakdown, Power Rankings, and Fantasy. Yeah, and Daniel says that Jamar Chase is closed for business on Sunday, and there was some weird stuff that happened with that whole thing. There was like, I guess, one of the guys like spit on Jamar Chase, and I guess Jamar Chase spit on him first, and like there was like, I guess the one guy like threw a punch at him or something. Like I didn't catch the whole exact thing that happened, but some kind of real weird stuff going on with these players out there just thinking they go out and do this crazy disrespectful stuff. But looking like we have the true number one in the NFC right now, barring if the Cowboys come up for like air and maybe get the number 2 or something tonight, which I'm rooting for, but I guess Dak Prescott fumbled and Raiders recovered, so we'll see how that goes through. I didn't even look to see what the score was.
It's 6-3.
Oh, is it 6-3?
Yeah.
I'm behind in the stream, so. Oh yeah, 6-3. All right, gotcha. Had to go catch up there. All right, so Philadelphia Eagles. They are the most complete team in the NFC. They got Jalen Hurts playing well, and they were going up against, like, it's so crazy. I can't believe that the Lions fell that far off the spectrum, but I think last week the Lions were the number one NFC team. So Lions take a big loss to the Eagles. Just horrible, stupid things they did. Like, I don't know what the coach has against their punt team, but they lost, I think, 5 to turnover on downs, and then they gave the Eagles like really close short field, and they just capitalized on it, and that's how they literally won the game. So interesting to see the Philly being up there at 7-2 at the top. Rams are gonna be a team to beat this year. They're led by MVP candidate Matt Stafford. He's just looking awesome. He's balling out every week. He's got a lot of weapons. He's got Puka Nakua. He's got Devontae Adams. So he's got some weapons in there, and they got a good running game and stuff. So they do look unstoppable past 3 games, and their defense is actually playing well too. So they could match the Super Bowl 56 team. So we'll see. Then we have the Indianapolis Colts, who are still hanging in there, really atop the AFC still, and they did have some little bit of hiccups here and there. Jonathan Taylor is just amazing. Like, he just crushed it with his rushing yards, but like I say, they're gonna be the team to beat in the AFC. Danny Dimes just really playing well, and everyone thought that it was just kind of a Cinderella story and he would have his flaws, and he hasn't. None of the other backup quarterbacks or any of the other quarterbacks has any kind of challenges. So look to Danny Dimes to go in there into the playoffs as the Colts QB, starting QB. Then we have the Patriots, and they are they did have some worries in Tampa Bay, and Drake May did come through again, and like I say, this time with the defense taking over the spotlight for Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel's done some awesome things. Like I say, Travion Henderson had 3 touchdowns this week. That was awesome for fantasy. I had him in a couple leagues, so it helped me out. I was going against him too, so it hurt me a little, but I still won. But look to see the Colts and the Patriots atop the AFC going in. Like I say, I believe they're both 9-2 possibly now, and the Broncos are 9-2 now. But we'll see. I sent this to you before. I have to do it like before the week starts. But then we have Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks have obliterated their past 2 opponents in similar fashion, and are they're hard to ignore. So yeah, I agree with that. And they're one of the red hot teams. They have a lot of different, like when you look at like Sam Darnold, Jackson Smith-Njigba, you look at their running game, they have a two-fisted running attack with Walker the Third and Charbonnet. There's a lot of good things that Seattle has. Their defense has been playing really well. Their secondary is really good. They've been really stopping the run a lot. So look at Seattle keeping that number 5 spot. I'm almost thinking New England's going to move up. Then we have like the Lions, which I think they were previously at the 1 spot, and now they dropped to the 6th spot. And they were just basically like unstoppable. Their offense is looking so great. They basically looked really good against the Commanders. Like they were just airing it out to St. Brown. They had their good running attack, their two-fisted running attack with Gibbs and Montgomery, just looking great. I think they've kind of lost a little of their mojo a little bit, but we'll see. I mean, that was a tough loss to the Eagles. It's going to set them back in the NFC. And then the Bills, I think the Bills are kind of in a little bit of a free fall when it comes to the AFC, but they really showed that they're not going away this week against Tampa. I think Josh Allen had like 45 fantasy points, So he had like 3 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing touchdowns. Just incredible. So look, the Bills aren't going away, and the Bills defense is keeping them in games, keeping the other team enough off the board. The Bucks, they were actually stopping the run pretty good against the Bills. I think they pretty much kept Cook off the board, but they didn't stop the other weapons that the Bills had. And you look at Baker Mayfield, he's a true baller. He's always using his legs to get like the first downs, and he looked really good against the Patriots, but they just didn't have enough in the tank to get past them. So I don't see the Bucks really going away yet. I think they're first in their division, and I could see them winning that. What is that? The NFC South. So I could see them winning that NFC South. Then we got like the Broncos over there. We're at 9-2 now. Just good victory out the Chiefs. 2 divisional games. We were pretty sloppy at home against the Raiders, and like I say, it was pretty rough because I think the Avalanche almost scored as much points as the Broncos. I think it ended up being like 10-7, and the Avs won like 9-1 or something the day after that. So we were kind of making some jokes about that the Avalanche almost scored more points than the Denver Broncos offense. But they put it on the board, or they're top 10, and I could see them moving up even more. I could see them possibly taking that 7th spot. They were previously in the 7th spot. Now I think they're going back up there. Chargers are probably going to drop out of the top 10. They are bolting again with Jim Harbaugh, and he is getting a style of play from Justin Herbert, but Justin Herbert just laid a turtle egg, and he dropped, I think, 4.2 fantasy points. It was rough for me because he's my quarterback in fantasy, but they did get some people involved. They got the tight end involved a little bit, and they did get the running game going a little bit, but just not enough to get them the win on Sunday. Chiefs are probably going to drop a little bit more, going to 5-5. And they did have to drop a little in week 10 so I think they're going to just drop a little bit more. Kelsey had a great game. I mean, Kelsey did great for me. I think he got like 23 fantasy points. So there is still some fantasy gold that's in there in the Chiefs, but as far as them even possibly making the playoffs, it's not looking great. So we'll see. But I think the Chiefs beat us 9 straight in all the previous seasons. So we'll see. We got that back. The Green Bay Packers pulled off a win against the Giants, which was really well needed, but they lost one of their key assets. They lost Jacobs. So if you guys are in fantasy, look to pick up the backup running back. I can't remember his name exactly, but like that backup running back is actually going to be a good handcuff if you're a Jacobs owner, to pick him up for at least the next couple weeks. So we don't have any information on Jacobs. He could be out for anywhere from 1 to 4 weeks. So we'll see how that plays out. We had the Niners. They had a really good game against the Cardinals. And so I believe it was the Cardinals. But they're still trying to get Purdy back. I think this was Purdy's first game back if he did play. I can't remember exactly. But, McCaffrey had a decent day. I had Kittle. I just went traded to get Kittle in Dynasty, and Kittle had a good day. So there's a lot of good weapons in the 49ers. They're still sitting there, hanging there tough. And I think they're second or third place tied in the they are in the NFC West. And so, like I say, they're still hanging in there. They still have some weapons coming back, but you have to go to the NFC North and look at the Bears. The Bears are just like, they're calling like the heart attack kids now. They have Kalen Williams, Ben Johnson's offense starting to get going. They're digging deep. They're starting to get some of their running backs going. Manungai had a touchdown. Swift was looking strong. Some of their wide receivers, Roma Dunze had a pretty decent day. And like I say, they got it done and got the win. I think they played the Vikings, didn't they? I can't remember.
I think so.
I wanted to say it was black and blue division, but Bears still somehow showing up and getting her done. Then the Ravens. The Ravens are just still in there, and like I could see the Ravens just staying put at this 15 spot this week. They had a decent outing, played pretty well. Like I say, Lamar Jackson he hasn't been doing his little running thing like he does as much, but like I say, he has been showing signs of life. And like I say, they're still in there. They're in the same division with like the Ravens and the Browns, with the Bengals and the Browns. And the Bengals and the Browns are not showing signs of life. So, you have the Steelers and the Ravens, and like I say, they could easily take that AFC North title. So we'll see what happens this year. Going into the final push, we have the Steelers, the Jags, the Texans, the Panthers, and the Vikings. So starting off with the Steelers, it looks like Aaron Rodgers has some kind of a wrist injury or something. He did not return. So we have Mason Rudolph going in there, so I don't know how much that helps. But like I say, DK Metcalf didn't have the greatest game. Gainwell crushed it, and it looks like Jalen Warren's possibly out. He looks like he wasn't that hurt, but he went out with like some kind of an ankle injury or like a high leg injury or something, and he didn't return. So look to be picking up Gainwell on waivers if you're wanting to be a Steelers owner. Jags actually, Tootin got going. Jags actually look decent. They are not out of it. Like that you think, okay, 5-4, 6-4, whatever, but they still have some pretty good assets. They just got Jacoby Meyer. So if you guys are in fantasy, there's going to be a lot of waiver assets that the Jags are going to have. You got Jacoby Myers. A lot of people dropped Jacoby Myers when he was in the Raiders. Tootin has been sitting on waivers. I would pick Tootin up. He had a decent game, and it looks like his share is going to be going up. So, look for that to be, more fantasy driven in the future going in towards your fantasy championship. And then we have the Houston Texans. Looks like the Texans they're ready to step up, and they did take out the Jaguars with Mills at the helm. But you got to really look. There's a lot of fantasy options that come in with the Texans. I've always been big on Woody Marks since day one. If you could get Woody Marks off waivers, he's gonna just continue to build until somebody else either steps up. I'm not a really big Chubb guy. I don't really like Nick Chubb that much, but he is an option. Some leagues, Chubb gets dropped, and he does have a solid floor. That's the big thing about Chubb. But Woody Marks has that high upside where he could get you 25, 30 fantasy points just at a drop of a hat. He gets some touchdowns, gets to the end zone. Then we have the Panthers. The Panthers, played strong defense overall, and against the Saints. So you kind of have to look at the sample size. And the offense once again disappeared, but Bryce Young, this week he tossed up like 450 yards. And Ted McMillan had a great day. I'm a Ted McMillan owner. Look to see, I think Jalen Coker's back for the Panthers. So you might be able to go pick up Jalen Coker off waivers. I predict him to have a strong week coming back for like week 12. you look at the number 20 Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are always strong when it comes to fantasy, but I don't really look at it too much with J.J. McCarthy as a starter. He did have a decent game. He didn't look too bad. And he is considered a second-year QB, even though he didn't really start last year. But they have all kinds of weapons. They have a decent running attack. They have Jordan Mason. They have Aaron Jones Sr. Both of those guys looked okay. Like, they didn't look great. They looked good, not great. But you got JJ. You got Justin Jefferson. You got Addison, and you have some fantasy assets in there. I've been an owner of some of the wide receiver cores from the Vikings, and they really don't have terrible weeks. I actually have Aaron Jones Sr. I think he did all right. I think he got like 8 fantasy points. So this is like the kind of area, these 5 teams, where you really want to look for like your fantasy assets, because they could just go off and ball every week, and that's where I always look for like my fantasy gems. It's right in these, lower teams in the lower of the top 20. But some of these teams could fall out next week. Some of these teams could come back in. You just never know. Me and King James have always been doing this, and from week to week, you never really know. But this just gives you the overall picture, just kind of everyone's records, going through all the different divisions. Obviously, Broncos atop the AFC West. Patriots atop the AFC East. And then, you have like the Colts atop the AFC South. Steelers atop the AFC North,
Yeah.
So that's interesting when you see all that, because, I mean, if you're looking at like a Patriots, Broncos, or like a Colts, Steelers, you have yourself a pretty good game on your hands when it comes to like the AFC Championship. Then just kind of the same thing going through like the NFC. You have the NFC North, the Bears leading, which is such a surprise. And you have, the Bucks are still leading the NFC South. You have the Rams leading the NFC West, which, like I said, you see how close the Niners are. The Niners are right in there. The Seahawks are right in there. So, and, it looks like the Cardinals are pretty well out of it at this point, which
Yep.
they probably deserve to be. But then you have the NFC East. You have some pretty good things going on, like oh wait, never mind. It looks like that's pretty much over.
Yep.
But like I say, the Cowboys, I got this promise from one of the Cowboys fans that 2026 is going to be their year.
That's what I've been saying.
All right. It's going to be their year next year. But no, it's pretty awesome. I try to tie in some of the fantasy stuff in there a little bit as well, and kind of go over that. But I really like how you did the game of the week and the final countdown, like in kind of the same thing, because
Yeah.
it really was. It really was. And like I say, the Broncos, they've been showing this almost kind of like consistency that I really like, where they're able to put a little bit of heat on the opponent. The defense keeps their offense off the board, and then they're able to finish at the end. So I think they played a full game. I think they played a full 60 minutes, if you will. So,
Yeah, you go in and you actually look at this game. It was close all the way through stat wise. I mean, there wasn't much difference in it. I just think Denver had one turnover, or had a fumble, but there was no turnover. The only turnover in the game was an interception, and that interception was, of course, by Denver, and that was by Jaquan McMillan. But
okay.
when you actually look at it, as far as sacks and tackles for loss, it was even. You come over here, you look at the rushing and everything and passing. Neither team rushed the ball good. I mean, Kansas City had 62, 59 for Denver, but Denver did fare a little better in the passing game. And, and Denver, they got the ball there at the end of the game, drove it down, and what ended up happening? They kicked the field goal for the win. And looking at that, I'm just going to go right through this and renew right here. And I'm going to go right into the final countdown, not even playing it, because they kicked it with a last-second field goal to beat the Chiefs 22-19. That's pretty much the game of the week and final countdown all at the same time.
So all you had to do is just call in sick. You didn't have to just say you want to go watch Cowboys real quick. But I know you want to jump up, watch the game. We really appreciate it. That was a really awesome breakdown and really well put together. Really appreciate you guys joining us. And let's go watch some Monday Night Football, man.
Yeah, they're up. Cowboys are up 10-6.
Yep.
And they're right now at the Las Vegas 14 first and go. So they're going for the win, it looks like.
I just saw it, so I got to go check my fantasy too because I have Pickens going and I have like one of the Raiders receivers going, so I'm going to have to go see.
Let's go watch the game. I'm going to go watch tonight.
All right, sir. Thanks everyone for joining us. Have a good night and go Broncos.
See some of y'all Thursday. Have a good week.